Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And today I want to talk about the full moon in Aquarius that's happening this coming week, August 11th, 2022 at 6:36 p.m. Pacific time. Full moons are the culmination of the cycle. It's where the sun and the moon are in opposite positions, and it's reflecting the greatest phase of the moon, the brightest light, illuminating a result, a culmination, a conclusion, a revelation in some ways. Having this be in Aquarius for me is very much a combination of looking at the bigger picture of things, looking at humanity, looking at how we can liberate ourselves, looking at how we can start to run our lives in a way where the full moon is illuminating how we nurture ourselves, how we view community. The moon represents community, it represents the people. And this particular Aquarian full moon has some very powerful aspects. First, it's conjunct Saturn. Saturn is at 22 degrees Aquarius retrograde. The moon is also squaring Uranus and the North Node. Uranus is at 18 degrees, stationing to go retrograde. So Uranus's power is becoming very strong as it slows its roll to go in a reflective energy, going backwards. The North Node is an accelerated energy, as is Uranus. So there's this acceleration, this feeling of urgency attached to innovation in the idea of wanting to move the story forward. We also have the moon in a sextile to Chiron at retrograde 16 degrees Aries. So that to me is talking about the wound that we carry in our nurturing body. So let me kind of break down how I think this is going to play out. The idea that the Saturn is at 22 degrees Aquarius, retrograde, Saturn and Uranus are moving towards their final square, which is going to be exact around October 6th, the week that week. This is a significant energy because we're looking at Saturn representing the old structures, things that have been in place for a long time and have not been re-examined as to whether they really work for us. Uranus is about blowing it up, about wanting to innovate, renovate, and to do things in a new way. Uranus also represents the higher octave of Mercury, our thoughts. And I think what's happening here is, to me, as the moon is conjunct at 19 degrees, that's Libra degree, and then Saturn is retrograde at the 22nd degree, which is the Aquarian degree, I feel as if I'm looking at the collective. People in general are examining and reflecting on how they not only nurture themselves, but their emotional bodies. And I fully believe that we create on our emotional body. So we're looking at Saturn representing history and time. Yes, it can represent depression and feeling oppressed. It can represent government and authority repressing our emotions, but I want to move this into a more empowered place. I want to move this into an opportunity where Saturn is representing an opportunity to reflect on the historic nature of how we nurture not only ourselves, but the permissions we give ourselves for evolution and growth, which is why the square between this moon and Uranus to me feels so powerful, because Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus represents our family history. So now we're seeing this sort of double whammy on not just how society has historically nurtured the human on an individual level versus having the human serve some sort of bigger picture, some sort of wheel that doesn't truly nurture the individual. And we're looking at the idea of Uranus offering us an accelerated experience about our own perceptions. I believe that this square is initially going to feel as if I kind of want to explode. That's where I want to put it. The North Node by nature is ravenous in its energy. It's insatiable in some ways. And then we add the accelerated, innovative, sort of futuristic energy of Uranus. So there's a very strong feeling of being almost a little bit impatient to move the story so that the individual is acknowledged versus the collective in a way that doesn't serve. And that's why I think the moon sextiling Chiron in Aries gives us an opportunity to see how Aries representing pioneering energy, representing bravery, representing in some ways also this sort of pioneering spirit, being willing to look at the wound we carry. Every human carries its own soul's imprint. And I believe that that imprint initially through the human perception will feel as if it is a wound, but we know historically that Chiron not only represents a wound, but a gift. So I believe that this full moon in Aquarius has an opportunity to illuminate the gift beneath the nonsense. And if we are willing to take sort of innovative action, I feel as if Uranus here, while there is the potential for explosive reactions to things, we just saw Mars moving away from the Uranus North Node conjunction. That conjunction only happens once every couple thousand years. So I feel like when Mars went through that energy of the North Node and Uranus, Mars was digging deep into how do I show up? And is my warrior energy working for me, or am I inadvertently duplicating the energy that I'm warring against? Which is why during this full moon, when the moon is in sextile to Chiron in Aries, I have an opportunity to look at this in a softened energy. I have a look at this, how this potential serves the greater good versus pulling it under. I also believe that these dynamics, the Saturn conjunction, the Uranus square, also have a lot to do with what we're seeing in the way of the feminine reproductive system, the way that we are nurturing and fostering positivity or empowerment through the feminine energy of receiving, the feminine energy that does not have to push hard to make things happen. So I want to offer it this way because I believe that on a humanitarian level, we may see coming up people coming together and expressing their unhappiness with the oppressed feeling of an old system that is not innovative or innovating fast enough for humanity's technological innovations. So I feel as if we have this idea of the North Node and Uranus bringing in the idea that as a feminine nurturing energy, I want to be heard, I want to be seen, and I want my own voice in relation to my physical experience to be the number one authority. That's the way I'm putting it. Now, I believe this full moon is going to illuminate some divine disruption. And I call it divine disruption because I believe that in order for the soul to truly root and incorporate and take forward an evolved version of their wounds is to have an experience where the wound actually empowers. So I feel as if we're going to see people coming together and looking at how they express their unhappiness. But now I feel as if it's going to be done through a new avenue. Rather than going to war over a situation, I believe we're going to apply the universal laws, the laws of divine oneness, the laws of attraction, the law of allowing, the law of vibrational frequency. And as we are aware of our own individual frequency and how that ripples out, because I want very much to emphasize today that Saturn co-rules Aquarius. So on some level, while Saturn has been labeled oppressive, limiting, depressing, isolating, obligatory, dutiful, it also has the ingredients to, on a long-term and in a historic way, rewrite those rules so that humanity is served in a greater way as the individual feels more empowered to their own co-creation of this physical experience, which is why Uranus being in Taurus is so powerful, because Uranus is about liberation and about revolution and about electric ideas, about this sort of accelerated experience of knowing that my thoughts are things. And as I align to the greater thoughts of the solution or of how it feels when I sit in the energy I want to, I am working in tandem with the 12 laws of the universe. I'm working in tandem, in flow with the universe versus working upstream or against it, which is why I think the Saturn-Uranus square coming up is so powerful, because each layer of this square, as we've walked through them, has revealed more and more layers of our own co-creation, of our own slumber, and of following like little sheep a path that we felt might have been secure because it was familiar, but it actually was not serving our greatest and highest good. So I think there's a lot of strong emphasis on this full moon to empower the feminine. The feminine is a receptive energy, the energy that co-creates without effort, but through intention and through trust of the experience. When a woman becomes pregnant, at least I want to put in ancient times, there was not a monitoring of the process. Very often, there was a natural rhythm to it. And in modern times, we have taken the natural rhythm of the moon's energy, of the idea of the feminine, of the receptive, of the nurturer, of the protective, of the collective, being a sustainable and cooperative energy. And we have micromanaged it. So here I do feel like there's going to be this opportunity to use the power of our mind to come into a very personal experience that empowers us beyond the outward stimuli, beyond the outward fear energy that we're receiving through the media and through the various dynamics going on around the world. And as we take control or take accountability is the word I want to use for our focus, then rather than having to be perfect within that focus, we just have to have an awareness, and that awareness starts to light up humanity. And as each one of us becomes just this much more aware, we act as if we are activating these light circuits around the globe. And so this disruption that we're experiencing becomes the divine path for us to make new choices that neither villainize nor make heroes out of situations, but rather provide the contrast that delineates what we want to feel emotionally. So I believe this full moon in Aquarius is the beginning of a huge awareness and a liberation through our awareness. And rather than looking and pointing fingers outwardly, we're going to start to look at inwardly how we can allow our personal vibration to ripple out into this physical experience and then draw to us the experiences that we want to have. So within that dynamic, we are representing an opportunity for others to join us in this endeavor. So as you're walking through this coming week and you're feeling the energies build, because Uranus's stationing is going to create a real sense of awareness of our how our nervous system is being stimulated. And I think that's being stimulated through the higher octaves of Uranus, representing sort of that genius energy, that innovative, that scientific energy, that if I can dream it, I can be it. If I can muse about it, I can go into a dynamic where, even though I've never seen it in this physical experience, I can start to co-create it with this sort of alien way of thinking. That's the way I want to put it. I hope this is making sense for you. So I think this is a week where you're going to see your emotional body triggered quite a bit. I think you're going to find yourself kind of a little bit on a roller coaster ride. And I think that when you're feeling that sort of belly, when your stomach drops feeling, this is an opportunity to really go in deep and say, what is important to me? And do I feel powerful within my own mental and physical being to focus in on what I want to experience versus what I believe is expected of me, what I believe is required of me, and what I believe is the duty that I must perform? Because I think as we move away from the Saturnian, dutiful, controlling, cautious, structured energy that Saturn wants in a fear-based way, then we move into the idea that, again, using Saturn's representing father time, representing history, and extracting the points that worked for us, and then leaving the other points behind. So that's what I want to say about this Aquarius full moon. I will be doing my live readings tomorrow morning. That is Sunday. I believe today is the 6th. So it'll be tomorrow, it'll be the 7th. I look at my calendar real quick. Yes, tomorrow the 7th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I hope you'll join me for our weekly Traversing the Transits, and enjoy this full moon, because this year is just starting to really ramp up. And the things that we will experience truly have the ingredients to allow the human to experience co-creation in a way that's very exciting and very stimulating and very empowering. But in order to get to that place, there are some of the old structure that still gets to be demoed to make way for the new. All right, again, my name is Teri Hunter. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below. Just click on the link in the bio, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.